Jade Bolden and welcome to my video today. We are going to talk about the literal language of the body. Now, why is this important? It's important so you can be more self-aware and understand yourself a little bit better, to find some answers and to really tap into that subconsciousness and resolve things for good. It helps you find that joy that you're looking for. All right, and sometimes, you know, we don't know where to start and where to go, but our body will guide us. So this is why this is so important. I'm very excited to share this with you, and I'm excited to see the changes in your life as well. All right, so if you have any stories to share after you learn how to do this, please contact me and share with me some of the successes that you've had, okay? All right, so why do we have diseases, pains, and sicknesses? Well, I truly believe that we're sent here on earth to progress, okay? So we're here to grow and change, and so we have this God that loves us, and he's very intelligent, you know, so these sicknesses and the trials and the pains and stuff are for our own good. Okay, that's how I see the world. So God being intelligent, he wouldn't just torment us for no reason, right? You know, or for his own pleasure. He actually is a very loving God, and who would cry with us. All right, we've got scriptures where God weeps, right? So, you know, I know that God would jump in if he needs to, if he wants to, and fix everything for us, but he doesn't, because he doesn't want to rob us of our opportunity to grow. So it's like if you have children yourself, if you jump in there and do the homework for the children and learn for the children, you know, it doesn't work that way, right? There's certain things that they have to go through on their own to grow and develop themselves. You know, wish you could take all the tests for them. You know the answers already. You know, you can do it faster, but you don't want to, because you are robbing them of their own growth. All right. So this is the same way with our body. You know, there's things about it that it just teaching us lessons that we need to learn. Alrighty. We are mini creators, and basically our physical body will help us be more self-aware, and to help us live life more intentionally. If we can get rid of that passive negative reaction to things and be more intentional, we can actually create more positivity and reduce that chaos, right? And create more joy in our life. So that's the idea of why we want to do what we're doing here. So, you know, things that happen, bad things that happen, they may not be, you know, shouldn't be seen as punishment. Some people see it that way, and that's more a passive way. But I see it as just natural consequences of us being misaligned to who we really are. And who we really are is that we're a child of God. We're children of God, and God is a God of light and love. All right. So our body, it's a compass. It's a compass for our progression. It's a spiritual compass. If you look at it that way, it'll maybe be easier. That's how I see it anyways. So our compass leads us towards our natural affinity, towards love, light, and infinite power. You know, we like light. We like things that are sparkly and glowy and stuff. We love to be loved, all right? And we love to have an ability to do stuff, all right? So, you know, our body helps us be realigned to joy, okay, and our higher purpose. So, you know, the things that, you know, the mishaps in our body, it helps you course correct and adjust and adapt. You know, like we have rocket ships going to the moon. They're off course, what do they say, 99% of the time, because they constantly course correct. When you're driving on a road, even if it looks like a straight road, you're still holding the steering wheel and adjusting it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, right? So that's the idea of what we're trying to do here. So basically, just know that your body's a gift, and it's a temple of light. It has the ability to have more light and more love and all that goodness. But temple, in my understanding, is a place, dwelling for spirits, right? For God's spirit, to be exact. And you know, it's our body that when we have more love, light, and power, we can host more of God's Spirit. Alrighty, so the idea again is to have the fullness of joy. That's why we want to host that love, light, and power. So I'm very spiritual, and I love reading religious text, especially scriptures. So here's a scripture that I found. It's in the book called Doctrine and Covenants, and it says, "For man is spirit, the elements are eternal, the spirit and element inseparably connected, receive a fullness of joy, and when separated, a man cannot receive a fullness of joy." I really like that. Makes sense to me. Okay, that we're same material as the spirit is the same material as the body. The body is more of a denser matter. That's why you can see it, right? So everything that happens on the spiritual level happens on the physical level eventually. So if you kind of fix the things on the physical level, you help with the spirit. So I say mind over matter, matter over mind, and we've got scientists that kind of back that up too. Alrighty, and I'll leave that to you. You can do some of that research yourself. Alrighty, so let's talk about the literal language of the body. Alright, remember that it's an imbalance in your body that causes diseases, right? So there's always a reason. Just believe that there's always a reason for the discomfort, the diseases, and the distresses that we have. All right, so once we discover that, we can change for good. But these distresses and diseases are just a sign for us to help us realign and find the false beliefs and false thoughts that are not supportive to our happiness and joy, right? That's all it is, okay? So what I would do is, find the thoughts and beliefs and then change it. And then my physical world will improve, and I can see that in my physical health, in my environment around me, and other material stuff. Okay, so what do? Simply ask yourself, what does that body organ or body part do? And then understand that it is doing the exact same thing on a spiritual level. Okay, that's basically it. So once you learn that, it makes it a lot easier. But I started out reading the book Feelings Buried Alive Never Die by Carol K. Trueman, and I think this is a fantastic book that everyone should have in their home. Everyone should have a reference guide similar to this. So some of you might be thinking, but dude, what about accidents and stuff? Things just happen, and I agree, things just happen sometimes, but we can always find a way for us to look at that accident, so-called, and see if there's something more we can do, because if we can, it'll help us perhaps heal faster and have a more complete healing. So there's that side of it too, okay? And if you look at accidents, look for patterns to see if it is more than just an accident. Am I in some way responsible for creating these patterns in my life? Okay, so it may be your reality, but it might not be other people's reality, okay? I'll give you some examples here. So there's non-coincidence. Example number 1, football injury. A lady named Laura Jacobs shares a story about her son, and he's a football player. He got the ball wrong, hurt his finger, and then when he was home, he looked up the finger. What does the emotion link to the finger in a book, and he discovered what it was, and then he resolved it, and he found the right essential oil to support his new belief. That's basically it. All right, so here's another example, non-coincidence maybe example. It's an accident-prone friend of mine. So she self-proclaims that she's an accident-prone person. Her name's Mia, and she seems to have more than her share of accidents. We're friends from high school. In Australia, we eat lunch outside in the playground. So normally a group of 6, maybe more girls sit around and we eat lunch. And more than likely something would happen to her. All right, so one day, basketball just bounced randomly and hit her in the head. And you know, the next day she was like, okay, I'm not going to sit there anymore because you get hurt. So she switched places with somebody else, and that was fine. But you know, immediately she got pooped on by a bird, and so she's like, what? So we're laughing because it's just, it happens to her so often. And then we go camping that year, and she's in my canoe with the rest of the other girls. They all had other canoes, and we're all out on the lake together, and our canoe tips over because we don't know how to row that thing, and we all are in the water. But no, Mia not only fell in the water, but she fell on a pointy rock. So I mean, whoa, you know, it's just she's, you know, self-fulfilling, isn't it? So it's her belief, right? So it could look like accident, but do you think perhaps she had something to do with the, you know, how often it happens? And perhaps I might suggest, you know, changing her belief to a more positive, supportive belief. All right. So another example is I've got friends that are super healthy. I'm into health myself, of course, so of course I'm attracting these people. They eat organic food and they eat super healthy, lots of supplements, world-class doctors and you know, supplements, and still they have inability to absorb certain nutrients, right? And so it's dumbfound, you know, it's just really interesting. So anyways, when we resolve things like ability to receive love and accept, you know, nurturing and stuff, then suddenly their body can absorb those nutrients again. So it's interesting to see that, you know, we cannot be passive. We must be active participants in our health. And so that's why I love doing what I do, because the answers are within us. All right, this scripture in Mark is one of my favorites. It just something that just gave me lots of insight. Okay, it says, all these evil things come from within and defile the man. So Mark 7:18-23. There's more to it, of course, but what it's saying is, this is how I understand it, and you know, you can understand it your way too. But I see it says, you know, things that they're yucky on the outside, you can take it internally, but you know, it can go through the stomach and then out, right? Because the body can filter it. Because it doesn't go into the heart, it doesn't change them. But when whatever the state of the heart is, who you are from the inside, so that is what defiles you. So even if you're eating super healthy, if you're thinking super negatively, it doesn't do you any good. In fact, it can agitate your gut some more, right? And you know, on the opposite extreme, if you're unhealthy, eating unhealthy, and you think more positively, sometimes it's great. So I don't know, right? We should be both positive and both eating healthy. So anyways, emotion is energy, right? It's basically chemicals and electrical pulses. So there's a scientist named Candace Pert, a PhD in neuroscientist and a pharmacologist. She discovered this amazing link between the mind and the body. And she discovered that if you think certain thoughts, you trigger the production of neuropeptides. These chemicals create all these different physiological changes in your body. And there's a ton of others like Louise Hay, of course, Carol Truman, Bruce Lipton, and a bunch of other pioneers who believe that same thing. And it makes sense. I mean, the last 8 years that I've been doing this and helping people understand this and helping myself and my family, I mean, it just phenomenal. All right, it makes huge changes in our lives, helps people find happiness and fulfillment, finally, right? So if you're one who is new to all this, right, think it's like kind of crazy, think about this. You know anybody that's super stressed for an extended period of time, you know that sometimes they end up getting very sick, right? They get headaches, or they've got I guess stomach ulcers or whatever, you know, they experience, you know, this drain in their body. Okay, so that's the mind thing that's related and linked to the body. So some people say, well, just it's the body, it's just broken, and, something just wrong. It doesn't have nothing to do with how you think. Well, you know what? They've done a gazillion studies on people who have longevity, and they have lots of love, lots of social ties, lots of community support. All those people, I mean, they've done it with animals and other things. That those things are related to your health, your well-being. Health is not just the physical. Okay. Anyways, the people that are watching this, I'm sure that you're like me, and that's why you like the title of the video, so I don't have to preach to the choir, right? Okay, so the literal language of the body helps us identify where we need to go to change, right? So we have lots of scriptures that talk about the physical body and how we should realign ourselves. We use essential oils just to help us remove certain weeds. When I say weeds, I mean negative thoughts, negative beliefs that just take over your lovely garden, lovely spirit and body and mind, right? And we want to plant seeds. The reason why I say seeds is because it's a beginning, all right? You can't just, flick a switch and then be different immediately. You're planting something and then you're nurturing it, you're developing it, you're repeating your beliefs, you're finding evidence for your belief, and then your belief strengthens, kind of like muscles, right? And over time, you'll be that new person. All right, but it takes a little bit of firing together so that things wire together. And that's why I love essential oils, because it has the emotional signatures that matches to the emotions that we want to change, which will help us assist and support the new belief and new thoughts too. Alrighty, so there's this awesome quote here by Epictetus. Sorry if I butchered that. It says, "No man is free who is not a master of himself." So that's the idea. That's what we want to do. We want to get rid of that victim mentality, that passiveness, and then, be more empowered, right? Mentally master ourselves. All right, spiritually master ourselves. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start from the top down to the bottom, but energetically, people would normally work from the bottom up, like a tree, because we have the lower chakras that need to be strong and supportive, so that the higher chakras that can hold strong, and of course I'm going to help you use some essential oils to help support this change. Okay, so if you've gone to doctors, if you've done lots of personal development, and you've done heaps and heaps of things, and still no change, or still very little change in your life, try this, okay, and you'll see that changes may come quick and just powerfully. All right, so your body, on the right side of your body, the energy is the masculine energy, your giving energy, and your work and career. So if you have like right shoulder pains about carrying stuff that's not yours, about work, okay, and the left side is the feminine side, the receiving side, the family concerns, okay? So if you have any ailments, left hand, left foot, left side, left hip, it's about family, or it's about your receiving side, or the soft feminine side. Okay, so let's go to the head. What's the head about? Thinking, processing, yes? Okay, so when we have a headache, it's because we think too much. All right, we are unable to resolve stuff in our mind. There is this internal conflict of will, and you're like, what's conflicting? So the conflict is your consciousness is looking for answers, right? It says, I have to figure this one out, and then the subconscious has this belief that, no, I'm not smart enough, right? I can't find answers. So this guy says yes, this guy says no, and there's your conflict, okay? Other conflicts might be relying too heavily on your own limited understanding, all right? You're human, all right? You don't know everything yet. And then also controlling the outcome, forcing a certain outcome. And maybe that's not for the best, all right, for yourself and for the universe. So, what's the solution? So you need to get out of your head and into your heart, turn to God for guidance, and trust in your heart and your gut. So ask yourself, what was the initial inspiration before you overthink all this? And then let go of your ways and be open to new possibilities. So essential oils that will help is frankincense and lavender for overthinking. It will unwind your wound up mind. Peppermint for the sluggish brain. Cardamom to help you get out of the situation and see things from a different point of view. Okay, so new thoughts and beliefs to adopt. I'm smart enough, Heavenly Father will guide me. I have faith to act quickly on my heart's promptings. Understanding will come after I act in faith, and I release the need to know everything first before I act. Okay, so that's the head. Alrighty, so let's move on to the neck. The neck turns the head in different directions. All right, the neck is about being stubborn, inflexible, unyielding, refusing to see other sides of the question. And you can, solution is we can change our current focus. So we can see that life is more comfortable, and we can move with more ease and flow when we see things differently. Okay, so that's the hope that we have. Sometimes we don't move because we think, oh, it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better, so why would we think different? So here's a scripture. It says, "And I did it because I knew that thou art obstinate, and thy neck is as an iron sinews, and thy brow is brass." So interesting, huh? Okay, so the solution is choose to be agreeable and flexible. Ask, is there another way of viewing this situation? Okay. And you can use aroma touch oil, past tense, marjoram, and it helps relax the neck. So you can massage it on your neck as regularly as you like, okay? And then adopt this new belief. It says, I am open to and flexible. I love and am tolerant of myself and others. Okay, so that's the neck. Okay, moving to brow. So brow is about wisdom, lacking in true wisdom. A lot of brow problems, but sometimes, like, I get zits right here, and I think that's because I'm worried about me not having enough knowledge. Okay, because I knew thou art obstinate, remember that scripture, and thy brow brass. So, it's like really hard. So what we do is we open ourselves up for inspiration, and wisdom comes precept upon precept, line upon line. So that's the solution, just to kind of recognize that it's, it's going to come incrementally. So you can use oils like melissa, clary sage, frankincense, litsea, sandalwood, and put it on your third eye and lift it up like this upward motion as you put it on, just to indicate a willingness to open up to God's inspiration and instructions. Okay, and then your affirmation or your new belief and thoughts could be, I am wise enough for now. I don't have to know everything yet, and I can discern. All right, I know I'm not going to mess up all the time, right? Okay, so that's the eyebrows. Now we're looking at the eyes. So eye problems, what are they? Conjunctivitis, dry eyes, itchy eyes, vision problems, okay? So basically it's not seeing the truth, or unable to see things on a spiritual level. So we have some scriptures here. Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. And another scripture says, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes. Okay, interesting, huh? So solution that I've come up with, and I in my experiences, is unattach your happiness to all material objects and situations. So saying, stop saying, when my kids are healthy, when this happens, when my house is fixed up, when. All right, because you're holding your happiness out there. Instead, just disconnect all of that, and you can still choose happiness despite. And in fact, those things will come much sooner. So you can choose to change the lenses of your eyes to a more positive, supportive, one that you can look for examples of love and acceptance and spirituality. So instead of looking around going, well, all of these are things that's going to mess up and go wrong, we say, well, these are the things that will go right. Okay, so ask yourself, will these things matter in the eternities? What is this person's spiritual potential, for example? So it could be yours. What is your personal spiritual potential? So an example is my daughter. She got her first, she's a straight A kid, she got her first C, and she was distraught and unhappy because of this C. And I said to her, well, will this C matter in 5 years? Not really. Right, in 10 years, in the eternities, not really. It's not going to make or break you. So, don't put more effort into it or heart into it, okay? Where were we? Okay, so with the eyes, right? Oils, Immortelle, Melissa, Clary Sage, frankincense, Litsea, sandalwood. You can apply it around your eyes, but be very careful with the Litsea and the Melissa because it can be hot. Okay, ears. Ears is about not hearing love, don't want to hear, or nobody's listening to you, or not hearing God. So we have scriptures that similar to one above. Blessed are your eyes for they can see, and your ears for they hear. And blessed are the ears. The next one is, and their ears are dull of hearing, and least at any time they should hear with their ears. Okay. So the solution for ears is to choose to hear love. See, it's consciously choosing. Identify what false beliefs you have that's holding you back from feeling important enough to be heard and loved. I suggest oils like lavender, basil, balance, serenity, and helichrysum. So I met a lady who's been married to her husband for decades, and she kept on having these ear pains, and I asked her, I said, do you hear love? And she just started crying, and she said, look, I know my husband loves me, but I don't hear it, I don't believe it when he says it. And I guess he's like, yeah, I tell her, right? But this woman, for some reason, she chose not to hear. So what you can do is choose, right? So you can say new affirmations, to make that choice and commit to that choice, of course, but then start saying things like, I hear love all around me. I am equally important and good enough to be heard. God hears me. So pick some of those, whichever one that resonates with you, and then say it, okay? Shoulders. Shoulders is about bearing burdens that doesn't belong to you, lacking in courage. So here's a scripture, and when he hath found it, he layeth it on his shoulders rejoicing. So for me, it's owning your own responsibilities and rejoice in it, okay? And I will also ease the burden which are put upon your shoulders, that ye cannot feel them on your backs. So for me, it means, when we share our burdens with God and invite him to assist you, your burdens will be lighter. So the solution that I learned is that we need to bear our own burden. So we've been taught to bear one another's burdens, but nowhere did it say to own another person's burdens. So you can sympathize and empathize and be a friend and supportive person to people when they do suffer, as best as you can, but you cannot and should not take it on and keep it on there and act as if it's your own, because you rob people of their opportunity to grow. Okay, you do your best to support, and there's that difference there. Okay, sort of like what I was saying, you can't rob people of their power to choose. So there's a balance, and you work it out with yourself. Okay, the other thing too is when people start to blame and then they dump their burden upon you, you need to hand it back to them lovingly, because you know they have the ability and the power to resolve things that they have. We are never tried beyond our ability to overcome, right? So, you know, when people say, well, you know, you, I can't do this, you just kindly tell them that you're confident that they can figure it out, because they really can, right? All right, essential oils to help is Aroma Touch, Deep Blue, Peace, Past Tense, and Vetiver. All right, those are awesome oils for the shoulders. And you know, when you read those oils, you can see why. Okay, helps you relax, let go of things, and not feel responsible for people's happiness. So new thoughts and belief for that is, I only shoulder my responsibilities and allow others to do the same. Angels and God helps me carry my responsibilities with joy and ease. All right. So sometimes we do have big jobs that we're meant to do, callings, for example. You know, callings from heaven, certain things that we're meant to do. We've got a lot of kids, perhaps, but God will help us figure that one out. Okay, so we can do it. Now, lungs. Lungs is about discouragement, sorrow, grief, and not breathing in the breath of life, and a need for approval. Okay. So the solution is to do some childhood regression. I have a link there. You can go to that post and learn how to do that yourself. Resolve grief once and for all. If something's happening, grieve properly now, okay? And fully forgive and fully live your life, instead of having that fear that bad things will happen, so I can't fully let go. The other thing is to design your life. Figure out exactly what you want. Sometimes, a lot of us, we know exactly what we don't want, but do we know what we really want? Some of us don't. So take that time to dream, guys. All right, and give some details to your life vision. Alrighty, so oils to use: cardamom, breathe, peppermint, eucalyptus, litsea. All right, those are the oils that you can use to help with opening you up and clearing your lungs of those emotions. Okay, so if you keep on having lung concerns, ask yourself, is there something that's keeping me down, you know, having to feel sorrow too much? I discovered that when I was 2 years old, I held my breath. I don't have bronchitis, but I had asthma, and it was just because I held my breath to save people, to make sure that we're not captured. So when I went back to that situation in my mind, you know, that 2-year-old, I told her, I said, you can breathe now. And I just cried and cried, and just a sense of great relief, right? I guess nobody really told me, and I never gave myself permission to breathe. So it was liberating. So you can you adopt new thoughts and beliefs like, I fully love and accept myself. I allow myself to have joy. You know, that's interesting too. All right, the heart is next. Feeling abandoned, insecure, vulnerable, attaching happiness to a sandy foundation, not allowing heart to have joy, heavy-hearted, closing off heart with heart walls. So maybe bad things happened in your life. Lots of bad things happen to everybody, right? But sometimes our response is to shut down. But that heart, you guys, it's important to keep it open. Here's some scriptures. You know, one scripture says, and their testimony shall go forth unto the condemnation of this generation, if they hardened their hearts. You know, it's like putting a wall up that makes it hard to connect, right? You've got people that you know that you think, oh, I just can't get through to her. She's just like a mask on the outside. Or a scripture here says, the heart is wax gross. Kind of wax is hard, isn't it? So it kind of hardens the heart. Or rejoice, O my heart, and cry unto the Lord and say, O Lord, I will praise thee forever. Yea, my soul will rejoice. So it's like, open up, allow God in, kind of thing. So that's awesome. Now the solution, you already read it in the scriptures. It says, unattach your happiness from everything else and attach your happiness to God and your purpose only. So we need to kind of go through and clean up house inside our heart. Okay, what is my heart attached to? Check that heart, because you're doing it physically. That's what you're doing now. Yes, I believe, I have faith, and then we act in fear. So our actions don't align with what we say. But once you release, you know where your heart is. If you are okay with burning everything on the altar, sacrificing all that you love dear, and then realign it so that God is priority, these things are secondary. All right, so keep that heart open and connected to God. The heart is meant to break and feel the spectrum of emotions. You're not a robot. You are supposed to experience the extremities of emotions. To the depths of your sorrow will be the height of your joy, right? And guess what? God will mend hearts. So you can come unto Him with a broken heart and a contrite spirit, right? So there you go. Oils for the heart, geranium, okay, especially for kids. Keep that heart open. Peppermint, ylang ylang, rose. So people who have an attachment to stuff, oh, this is not happening, bonk, my heart is heavy, oh, that won't happen, and these things don't happen the way I want to, oh, heavy-hearted. So hey, you chose to have a heavy heart. Disconnect from all those things, be happy anyways. All right, because some of the things that happen to you, they're meant to happen, they're lessons for you, okay, they're good stuff. All right. You can look up each of those oils. I have links to them. Okay, so new thoughts and beliefs. My only job is to love God, myself and others unconditionally. I trust my heart. I allow my heart to be filled with love and joy. All right, so we can't help how other people feel. We can't help certain situations. So we need to disconnect from all that and just truly just be connected only to God. And that heart, oh, it heals, it's light, it's free. Okay, right arm is about not doing enough for yourself physically. The arm is about the ability to hold on to stuff, right? So the solution is identifying things that you can do for yourself and less for others. So if it hurts, maybe you're doing too much work, do something more for yourself. And oils for you is wintergreen, wild orange, okay? And new thoughts and belief. I allow myself to take care of myself physically. So that's easy one. Left arm. What do people have? Problems? I don't know. And it's not doing enough for yourself spiritually. Is ability to hold on to things, right? So the solution is identify things that you can do for yourself and less for others. But things that are spiritual, okay? For maybe your feminine side. Okay, so nurturing yourself a bit. Oils is fennel and sandalwood. Okay, thoughts and beliefs to adopt is I grasp spiritual things. I can hold on to those things. Right, like it? Okay, elbow. Okay, what does elbow do? Elbows bend. All right. So it's about our inability to accept new experiences. So the solution is to identify how you can adopt new experiences. That's it. All right, so you can smell lemongrass and wintergreen to help you release the negative thoughts and associations. And wintergreen is about surrender. Okay, new thoughts and beliefs to adopt. With God, I can accept new experiences with ease. That's that, okay? Liver is about anger, bitterness, frustration, panic, guilt, hatred, resentment. Liver filters fat-soluble food. Liver produces cholesterol and hormones. So remember filtering, we filter with our heads too. So the solution is put positive glasses on, visions or lens, so you can filter events and situations in a positive, supportive way. So let go of criticism, judgment, and punishment of yourself and others. All right, so oils to help you cleanse and filter properly is endocrine, geranium, digest zen, and motivate. New thoughts and beliefs. I allow God and his understanding to judge. Like, give God back his job, right? So you don't have to judge. Your only job is to love, right? Let go of the need. I let go of the need to criticize and judge myself and others. You don't know better, so you don't know all the information, so you can't take over God's job and judge yourself and say, I'm no good, right? Because you might be good enough. Okay, so I am gentle and encouraging towards myself. So you're not going to punish yourself severely because you messed up. So it depends on how you were parented. Sometimes as adults we continue to parent ourselves. But in my opinion, I believe that the natural consequences of our actions is sufficient punishment enough, okay? So for example, if you touch fire, you will be burned. All right, and that's sufficient. You don't have to add lemon juice to that, and you don't have to throw yourself in timeout and give yourself a big tongue lashing for touching fire, right? It's sufficient. So giving those extra punishments, that's your doing. It's man-made. The natural consequences is of the universe, and that's sufficient. Okay, so when you mess up because you're human, give yourself a break. Right? If you see a kid learning how to walk, he's taken his first couple of steps and he falls down on his bottom. Do you tell him, oh, you know what, I need to punish you, you fell down, right? You're not meant to walk after all. I've judged you. Yeah, that's it, done. You don't do that. It doesn't make sense. What you do is you say, hey, get up, you can do it. I love you, right? And, you encourage and you're kind and you're gentle. So you do the same with this child of God that's staring at you in the mirror, okay? So be kind. Hey, all right, I learned. All right, I trust that I can do it. Let's go again. Because if you punish and keep punishing yourself, what the message you are sending is you are not trustworthy. You mess up, all right? You can't be trusted, right? So you don't want to send that message because that it doesn't motivate people to go forward. You're pushing people forward, pushing yourself forward with fear instead of pulling yourself forward with love. All right. So when people feel a pull towards love, they want to try again and they want to try again and again, and they don't lose that excitement, okay, and energy. But when you know, and every time you fall down, you're going to be punished. You're not going to be that excited to get up and try it again, right? So your progression is slow. So make it safe. Make it safe for yourself, all right? So once you do that, everyone else feels safe around you to make mistakes. So I know that's a lot of information, but that has a lot to do with liver, So, you can see that when people are angry, when people are drunk, they get angry and they have, funny things. But liver is not just for people who drink and stuff. We mess up our liver a lot, through things that we do. All right, stomach. People with stomach problems, they often struggle with anxiety, disgust, worry, helplessness, failure, hopelessness. So the solution is to understand that you are only required to grow a step at a time, to create new beliefs about being smart enough, trusting in God and taking things one step at a time. Don't run too far ahead of yourself because you don't need to, know everything. So pace yourself. Don't take too much on, and if you want to check off the boxes, you like making lists, don't add another project. Don't say yes to another thing until you can handle, you can handle it. So finish some things off first, wrap things up, all right? So to help with the stomach, we have Digestin, Terrazyme, and Fennel, okay? And new thoughts and belief is I easily digest and understand new information. I take on one thing at a time. So, one way to help you with that is clean up all your projects, clean up your room, clean up, your wardrobe, and get organized. And once you do that, you'll find that you're not overwhelmed and your stomach it stops hurting. Hands, what do hands do? They grasp for things, okay? So hands, when they hurt, it's inability to grasp or let go of certain ideas. All right, a long time ago, I was so into drugs and medications and stuff, right? And at that time, I had arthritic hands. Yeah, 28, crazy, right? So I wake up in the morning, sometimes my hand is so stiff I can't make a fist. So as I kind of wrap my head around the new concept of essential oils and how this is fantastic, and do more research, I kind of let go of my old ways of thinking, and I was able to grasp the new ideas. And my hands felt better. So oils for that is cilantro, purify, wintergreen, cypress. All right, new thoughts and belief. I hold on to only good things in life. Okay, so if something's yucky, I'll let it go, and I can grasp good things. All right, hips. Hips is about making major decisions. It's about recognizing some big decisions that you need to make and why you are so fearful about it. So resolve that, and then you don't have to be fearful of it anymore. And then, find a way for you to walk forward. All right. If you need to do fear setting, do that, figure out your fears, get a game plan together if that ever happens, the fear. Then you don't have to focus on that fear anymore, and you can move forward with faith and strength and courage. All right, oils for that is aromatized geranium citrus oils. Okay, yeah, it's interesting with citrus oils, but yeah, I found that really works. So you can say to yourself, what if it does work out? Find out why it would work out really well, and then because you see the positive side, you won't fear making those major decisions anymore. So pancreas, is an organ that helps with digestion. It helps with metabolism of sweetness, and the sweetness that we need to metabolize is actually the sweetness of life. So you should have an attitude of gratitude about life in the future. Look for ways to have more joy and satisfaction. Allow yourself to be satisfied. Okay. Oils to help you do that is grapefruit and cinnamon. You can do coriander too. New thoughts and beliefs to adopt. I'm grateful for the protection of life. I see and accept the sweetness in life. Okay, so life protects you. It's not bad. It's not bitter. Okay, it's safe. All right, so does that make sense? I hope it does. So kidneys. Kidneys is about blaming, dread, conflict, judgment. Kidney filters water-soluble stuff. Okay, so the solution is to release the need to judge negatively. Doesn't help you, doesn't help them. All right, it's just keeping you focused on the negativity. And again, we don't want to take God's job, so just let it be. Live and let live. Allow others to be safe and free to make mistakes and be themselves. So remember what I said earlier about punishment. Apply that here. So essential oils that would be great for the kidney: lemongrass, coriander, zendocrine, juniper berry, and all the different ingredients in zendocrine too, by the way. And you can adopt new thoughts and beliefs, like I let go of blame and judgment. Okay, so the other positive thing to say is I own my power to choose. Okay, something like that. All right, so colon is about stubbornness and unable to relax. So if you can't go to the bathroom about 3 times a day and thoroughly flush things out from the inside, you still have some stinking thinking inside. You're holding on to old, outdated stuff. Your body can't absorb that much nutrients anymore from that food that you ate. You need to let it go. So things that you've taken in and you think, I don't know what else, and you're holding on too long, let it go. If you need to get it again, it'll come back. Okay, the universe will bring it back. Okay, so be open to the lessons from heaven, take what you can, and just move forward. So the new thoughts and belief is let go of all things that doesn't serve me anymore. I let go of all things that doesn't serve me anymore. So that will help with the colon. One of my girlfriends, I helped her identify some stubbornness that's, the energy in her colon. Not that she has any colon problems necessarily in her understanding, but I said, it feels like it's inherited from your dad, because a lot of emotions are. And she said, oh, Jade, my dad died of colon cancer, and he was a very stubborn man. All right, so we can learn from that, right? Okay, so sexual organs. Okay, remember we're heading lower in the body, which is the first and second chakras and stuff. So feeling pride, shame, unworthy, worthless, jealousy. All right, scarcity mentality. Okay, so the solution is do some childhood regression. Go back to that age, resolve it, satisfy that child, and so that you don't have this insatiable need for certain things that cannot be satisfied now as an adult. Okay, it needs to be that child that is that needed that. Okay, so discover who you are and see how much God loves you. All right, that will help with all those feelings and emotions. So oils to use: cinnamon, ylang ylang, jasmine, helichrysum, and black pepper. All right, if you have hope, that's a good oil too. So new thoughts and belief: I fully love and accept myself unconditionally. I am worthy. Okay, so there you go. So the knees, sometimes it's generational, you guys. So, you can consciously choose different to how your family has chosen in the past. So here it represents pride and ego, not bending, to your inner compass. Fear, okay, won't give in. So the solution is to turn to God, ask for guidance, right? You'll be guided and have a compassion and ease up, right? So create new thoughts and patterns. I am flexible. I am flowing with life. I freely forgive, okay? So you can use wintergreen and cypress, and your new thoughts and belief is I let go of limiting thinking and understanding. I rely on the divine to protect and guide me. Or I let go of the need to control my situation. I flow with life. I am safe as I adapt to changes. So, sometimes the solution for people is chop, 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 a surgery, cut, 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 put something plastic or metal in there. Still doesn't change you, right? It doesn't solve the problem properly. So try to change in that way. All right, so excessive fat, all right, it's about the need for protection. Feel the need for protection and being overly sensitive. All right, so you've got those glasses on that you're like, okay, people are talking about me, people are judging me. Oh, that's something offensive, towards me, whatever. I don't know how all that goes on in people's minds. But here, a solution is release and forgive yourself and others and situations that have caused you to feel unsafe. So do some childhood regression, all right? Help that child feel safe again, and then you don't see the world as against you. So essential oils is On Guard, Slim and Sassy Clove, Melaleuca, Terra Shield, Oregano, Holiday, Joy. All right, and the new thoughts and belief is I am safe in God. God consecrates all things for my good. I truly believe that. That's something that's awesome. But when I see friends that have issues, and I help them see that, they're like, well, I'm good already, I'm good. And so I'm like, okay, that's all right. Your body will tell you how good you're going. I'm just showing you the path here. So, up to you, right? Legs, all right, if you have leg problems, pains in your legs, veins in your legs, things that are related to legs, basically. It's about fear of change, moving ahead with life, okay? So maybe fear that the future is ugly, it's just scary or whatever. Release feelings that you've pushed down, because some people, they have cankles, right? They don't have ankles, they're just, bottom heavy. So you want to do some fear setting and really acknowledge what it is that you're really fearing once and for all. Completely make a game plan and then move forward to where you want to go so design it clearly. Oils to help you is cypress, amazing on the legs. Aroma Touch, Deep Blue, awesome oils. These are some, not all. You can find more oils to help with that, okay? But it's a good place to start. New thoughts and beliefs to adopt. I move forward with faith and ease. Alrighty, we're going to make changes and it's going to be fine. So feet problems, fear of the future, not liking the direction you're going. So the solution is do some childhood regression technique, and do some fear setting. All right, again, figure out why you're scared, what you're going to do about it if it ever happens, and then let it go. Okay, so clearly decide what you want and plan it out. Fully own your power to choose. Sometimes you think that you don't have a choice in this situation. Ask yourself, do I have a choice? Sometimes you do. Most of the time you do. All right. So essential oils to help you: lemongrass, juniper berry, cassia, cypress, lavender, spikenard, deep blue, peace. Okay, those are all fantastic oils for the feet. Thoughts and beliefs to adopt: my future is bright and joyful. Woo. Okay, ankles, guilt and fear of failing. Solution is, as long as you did your best, you're not responsible for other people's happiness. All right, releasing that, okay? Or do some childhood regression. Oils to help is copaiba, bergamot, lemon, peppermint. And a new belief is, I am innocent, forgiving myself. So I am forgiving of myself, right? And peaceful. So a funny story, my daughter, she was, our whole family for Halloween, we were dressed as Trekkies, right? Star Trek, right? So it's a team, it's a group, so we did that for our Halloween party, and then for actual Halloween, my daughter decided to go off with her friends and become a zombie instead, which is fine. We don't care. But she felt guilty, and she came down the stairs, and then she hurt her ankle. And I asked her, hey, Ems, what's that about? And she's like, oh, ankle is about guilt. And I said, why are you guilty? And she's like, because I'm abandoning you guys. And I'm like, hey, it's okay. I'm not concerned about that, don't worry. So anyways, it's her feelings and her thoughts and her interpretation or misinterpretation of situations, right? So we do that as children too, okay? Sometimes we don't know the difference between being bad and doing something bad. So, forgive ourselves and do a lot of childhood regression. So other issues of the body, you can find it in the Feelings Buried Alive Never Die book. On my website you have a handout, just a quick reference so you can get started, right? But let me end here with a few words of comfort and helping you gauge success. Look, God's interested in our progression, more than our perfection. We're not meant to be perfect now, so don't beat yourself up for not getting there, being there yet. It's okay. Right? None of us are walking on water. We all have things to learn and grow. So don't expect your perfection today. So the idea is just to learn how to be connected to God again, because when we're sick, we're disconnected, right? So we just have to recognize our body's attempt at realigning us and reminding us the direction to go. Isn't that cool? How you know that you've got weaknesses and you've got stuff to work on, but your body tells you the order in which to do it. Whatever is hurting most, whatever is bothering you the most, that's where you start. So I call it chasing the dragon. Maybe it's here, maybe it's there, and then once you resolve here, another place in your body says, hey, I need attention now. All right, so it's like a personalized program for you to grow. But all of this leads to the first 2 commandments. That's pretty much it. It's really simple, guys. And the more I learn about it, the more I'm thinking, we overcomplicate things. So awesome. That it's just the first 2 commandments. Love God and love others like you love yourself, which means remember to love yourself. And we're all here to have joy. So don't be hard on yourself. Okay? And you will know when you're successful, when your body starts to heal, when your physical situation starts to change. All right, so like I said, with people, they're still hurting, but they're like, no, 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 I changed already. And I'm like, well, it's not me to, not my place to judge. You will know. Okay, so my hips, you know, I used to have very bad hips, and it got better, and I thought, oh, it must be because I was, you know, pregnant and stuff. Well, it just kept on going, and I had 3 chiropractors work on it, and for years, right, it just kept going, getting better and better, but it didn't all the way go away. And recently I thought, what's another big decision that I have failed to make? And I found it, and I said, okay, what if I make that? And I said, release. And then it released, and my hip felt so much better. So guess what? I have to honor it, and I have to follow through, otherwise it's going to come back. But it's awesome because that's how I gauge how well I do. All right, your body will tell you. You know, if you still have a lot of weight to lose, well, you're still maybe overly sensitive. You know, shoulders, if your shoulders still hurt, well, you're carrying stuff. You're taking over people's, you know, responsibilities. Give some of that back. You see, so that's how I know. So I'm so grateful, guys, that we had this opportunity to be together and for me to share this with you. If you like this video, please like it, and if you want to share it, please share it. And if you want to make some comments, go ahead and comment below. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. If you don't have a doTERRA wholesale account, please contact me, and I'll help you out there. If somebody invited you to watch this video, go back to them and set up a wholesale account with them. Alrighty, so you guys, thank you so much, and I'll look forward to talking to you next time. Bye for now.